Ah!
Kansas City Chiefs, one of the funniest organizations to me, just by the way that some of the decisions that they make. You know, you feel like they're right there on the cusp of being one of the teams that can compete every year and be good every year, and then boom, they do something that you're just like, wow, what are you doing? You know what I mean? The first thing was like last year when they drafted Mahones at 10. I mean, they went after Mahones. Like, they wanted Mahones. Like, they saw lots of good things out of Mahones that they wanted, and they went after him. And all of last year, you watched as Alex Smith destroyed the league for the first 8 weeks of the season, and all their weapons that they had were awesome. And you just said, man, this team's really good. And you're sitting there and you're wondering, how are they going to get rid of Alex Smith at the end of the year with him doing all this with the offense? You know, how are you going to get rid of him? And then, you knew the storyline was coming. The playoffs come around. They lose a game. And then Alex Smith, it's all his fault. Blame Alex Smith. Blame Kevin Love. And then as the offseason comes around, the Redskins, they're like, oh God, we got to get rid of Cousins. We don't want to pay Cousins. Somebody's going to bite on Cousins because they see his potential. The Redskins and the Chiefs are like in the same bandwagon. Like, they want to look like they're competing every year, but they don't ever really want to win nothing. They just want to look like they're competing every year. They want to bring enough fans to the games. They want to fucking bring, enough revenue in and shit like that. But then they want to fucking like lay down when it comes time to fucking so perfect for both of them. The fucking Chiefs get rid of fucking Alex Smith, give fucking Alex Smith to the fucking Redskins. Redskins get rid of Cousins. Then, Mahones can come onto the scene. Now, I'm disappointed that they got rid of Alex Smith. And not only did they get rid of Alex Smith, I don't really think they got a whole lot in return. So, I mean, Kyle Fuller is a good player. Don't get me wrong. I like Kyle Fuller a lot. I think he's going to be a good player for them. But I liked Kyle Fuller as a slot receiver, or as a guy that was going to be on the slot. I don't like Kyle Fuller as the main cornerback. And we're to Marcus Peters as well. Denari Poe's gone. Albert Williams gone. Terrence Mitchell gone. Benny Logan gone. Derek Johnson, the backbone of the defense for the last 10 years, gone. I really don't like the losses this team had this last year. And then, who did they add to replace it? Anthony Hitchens, that's all right. Sammy Watkins was a good wide receiver, or is a good wide receiver, but what will he be in this offense? Is he just going to be a big decoy the whole time? David Amerson, a guy from Oakland, an all-right cornerback. Chad Henne, ooh, great. And then Xavier Williams from Arizona, an offense or defensive tackle. I really don't like where this team's going. I like this team when it was like, we don't really have that great of an offense. Our offense is all right, and our backbone is our defense. And they've completely gone away from that. Now, Eric Berry got hurt early in the year last year, so this defense kind of got depleted, and I think it would have been a little bit better than it was last year. Now, Eric Berry will be back this year, and I think Kendall Fuller is going to be a good player this year, but I don't think he's going to be ready for that as a starter. Stephen Mitchell is the other slated cornerback. I do not like the secondary other than Eric Berry. If they can get Armani Watts onto the scene, who's a rookie, that would be good. But he's gonna. I mean, still, that's not gonna be. I like Armani Watts because I like him as a player. I don't necessarily think he's gonna be successful in his first year. D Ford at linebacker, Reggie Ragland, and then Anthony Hitchens. I mean, Ragland, I don't think was drafted by the Chiefs. I think he was drafted by Buffalo. He could be a really good player. Reggie Ragland was a really good player at Alabama. We'll see if he can be that guy here. D Ford was a good player at Auburn. We'll see if he can do that here. And then their defensive line has gotten a lot worse this last summer. I think so. Justin Houston, a shell of what he was. The loss of Denari Poe is huge. Chris Jones is good. But, I mean, Derek Ndali is going to have to be good. Breland Spears from Ole Miss, who they just got, is going to have to be good. Derek Nandali or whatever is from Florida State. They just drafted him. Dorian O'Daniels, a good linebacker that they drafted from Clemson. I like him a lot. Armani Watts, as I mentioned, from A&M. I like him. Tremont Smith from Central Arkansas. This is another really good kid that they got in the 6th round. I think he could be one of the cornerbacks by the end of the year. And then Khalil McKenzie from Tennessee, pretty good player. So they only had 5 draft picks, not a huge draft class that they had, but they had good players in their draft class. And this offseason, I don't really think they added a lot of good players. I mean, their big guy was, I think, Kendall Fuller. And I mean, Sammy Watkins is going to be their big guy, but I don't think Sammy Watkins is going to have that good of a year. I think he's just going to be a big decoy. I think he's going to help Tyreek Evans out a lot, Travis Kelce out a lot. But the main storyline for the Kansas City Chiefs this year is Patrick Mahones. What will Patrick Mahones be? And let's just put it out there. If Patrick Mahones is bad this year, has lots of turnovers, and they don't start figuring things out till about week 10 or week 11, there's nobody else at quarterback than Mahones here in Kansas City. So Mahones is going to be the guy. I truly believe that Mahones is going to be a successful quarterback. I just don't think he's going to be successful his first season. I think a lot of people imagine Mahones as just coming in this next year, them going about 3-1, and then like them cruising to about a 7-5-ish, where he's playing better, he's playing all right, he's playing well enough to win. But you're like, well, shit, if this team makes the playoffs and he has a lot of pressure on him in the playoffs, he's probably not going to do shit. And that's kind of how I see like it going. Like, and that would be, all right season. If they went 9-7, made the playoffs, 10-6, made the playoffs, and then Mahomes just crumbles under pressure when the playoffs starts. Like, I could see that happening. Now, I think a lot of people might imagine that Mahomes is just going to start chunking the ball like Alex Smith did, and they're gonna pick up where they left off last year. And I do not think that's the case at all. I don't think this team's gonna be 5-11. I don't think Mahomes is gonna implode, and I don't think he's gonna be a bust or anything like that. But I think he's definitely gonna struggle this year. I think it's gonna be a point where Chiefs are trying to paint the picture that Mahomes isn't gonna struggle and that they're gonna be good this next year. And I honestly think Mahomes is going to struggle, but I think it's the thing that I understand about it is that he's going to struggle because that's how you grow. That's how you become a better player. That's how you become a better quarterback. And I think a lot of people are going to take it as he's struggling and he just doesn't have it. He sucks. And I don't look at him that way. I think he's going to be a good player. I just don't think the Chiefs are going to be good this year. They didn't have a huge draft class. They didn't. Their offense is great. They've got a great offense, but to me, their defense is getting worse and worse every year. These veteran guys, your Derek Johnsons, your Eric Berrys, they're getting older. Derek Johnson is gone now. You got rid of Marcus Peters. Denari Poe is gone. I'm not impressed with what they did this offseason. I thought they did a good job of getting rid of Alex Smith, but what they brought back for it, I don't think was good enough in return. So just a tough year for them. Some things I said this offseason that they ought to do. They ought to add a number 1 receiver. And they didn't really do that. They added a kind of a number 2 receiver. But, Tyreek Hill and Sammy Watkins. Sammy Watkins is going to be your number 1 receiver. But what I'm trying to say is Tyreek Hill plays in the slot. DeMarcus Robinson's not going to – he might be able to play your other – like your second wide receiver. But to me, I'd like to have Sammy Watkins as my number 2 wide receiver and have somebody else than that. And Travis Kelce is honestly the number 1 receiver. We'll see if Mahomes and Kelce can get on the same page early. And then I think Kareem Hunt has a good year, but I think something that you need to realize is Spencer Ware was hurt all of last year. Spencer Ware is going to come in, and I think Spencer Ware is going to take some of those carries that Hunt had this last year. So, realize that. And good special teams. They're going to have a good special teams. Don't get me wrong on that. And some other things I said they ought to do this offseason, cornerback depth, O-line depth, things they didn't do, re-sign Benny Logan. I wanted them to re-sign Benny Logan. They didn't do that. He's in Tennessee now. So I don't know. I think it's going to be a tough year. I think At the most, I think the Chiefs can be 8-8, maybe 9-7, maybe creep into the playoffs. But I'm thinking more of a 6-10, 7-9 record. And this is like one of those. This is one. They're kind of like they're like a year ahead. They're multiple years ahead of like the Jets and the Browns. But to me, they're like about, if you want to think about where the Browns and the Jets are going to be at next year, the Chiefs are about right there. And it's hard to think that because they've won over 9 games their last 5 years. But just because a new quarterback, I think it's going to take him a couple years. Give him, this entire year. He may be ready next year, but for sure that third year, I think he'll be ready. And as he continues to get better and better, you have to, continue to grow the pieces around him, and I think that's what they'll continue to do. They need to get, I think, more wide receivers. And then I think, obviously, the next couple of years is going to be about, restacking that defense and making that defense what it used to be. So I think the Chiefs could be good a couple years from now, but at the same time, like I was saying at the first of my video, the Chiefs are one of those teams is as soon as you think they're about to be at the upper echelon of the league, they do something just to fucking put them back into the mediocre part of the league. So that's the Kansas City Chiefs for you.
She knows she got it. The mama so bad. You know she not it. Her do is so slow. Now watch her take